My friends at the Illinois Chamber, I'm sorry I can't be with you, but boy, am I glad that you're having a conference on critical infrastructure. Conversations about how we can make investments in infrastructure are critical to getting America's economy moving again and making sure that people have good paying jobs and ensuring that our transportation systems can serve our needs. Now, the St. Louis area, and I grew up there, serves as an economic engine and logistics hub for not just the region, but the entire country. Illinois is the transportation hub of America, in part thanks to the robust freight network of the St. Louis region. Our state's home to the third largest interstate system, fourth largest roadway system, second largest rail network in America. 6 Class I railroads and 4 interstates run through that region, transporting millions of tons of goods every year. Amtrak provides critical passenger service. The area is also home to 2 international cargo airports, home as well to the second largest inland port in the United States by tonnage, which moves more than 30 million tons of goods every single year. The renovation of the East St. Louis River Bridge District will transform that area into a state-of-the-art transportation hub, creating jobs and bringing additional commerce and logistics to the surrounding communities. We need increased dedicated funding for federal transportation to move goods and people across Illinois and across the country safely and efficiently. Now, the president said he wants to invest $1 trillion in our nation's infrastructure. I'm with him. I think the Senate Democrats have proposed a plan that hits the exact same numbers. Our plan includes funding repair of roads and bridges, of course, modernizing rail infrastructure and ports, updating water and sewer systems, expanding broadband, and supporting critical national infrastructure. And as we build new infrastructure, the public and private sectors should work together to see what kind of investments we can share. The American Society of Civil Engineers estimates we need $2 trillion because of the funding gap in our infrastructure over the next 10 years. Finding a long-term infrastructure funding solution is really the critical element of this political conversation. Now, one way we can create a sustainable funding source for infrastructure is by raising the federal gas tax. The gas tax is currently 18.4 cents a gallon. It hasn't been raised in 24 years, despite the fact that inflation has risen, project costs have gone up significantly. And we know the facts. Our cars and trucks are much more fuel efficient today than they just were a few years ago. As infrastructure ages, gas tax revenues simply cannot keep up with demand. The federal government typically spends about $50 billion a year on transportation projects. The gas tax only generates $34 billion annually. As a result of a lack of action in Congress, many states have had to make the moves on their own to raise gas taxes. 19 states in the District of Columbia have raised the gas tax since 2013. So let's build on that effort for a national federal effort. Any large-scale infrastructure investment must include a decision about raising the federal gas tax. We need to make sure that we aren't continuing to patch the system with a mix of unrelated efforts, and we've got to make sure the money we raise is dedicated, specifically dedicated to infrastructure and transportation. I'm proud to continue to working on these issues in Congress, and I want to continue our conversation about public-private cooperation and sustainable investments in our nation's infrastructure. Have a great conference, and thank you for all of your interest in this important issue.